Today, we're jumping into a story told from a really unique point of view. A house. This isn't just any story, though. It's about a boy named Randy and his private, 21-year-long war against a body that just wouldn't grow up.
Right off the bat, you get this incredibly personal and honestly kind of heartbreaking perspective. The house wasn't just a building. It was a silent witness. It saw everything that happened behind closed doors, the stuff that you'd never see in a school photo or on a report card.
So, at the very heart of Randy's story is this deep, fundamental conflict. It's this total mismatch between his mind, which was developing at lightning speed, and a body that felt like it was stuck in first gear.
I mean, you have to picture it. Randy was living in two totally separate realities. In one world, his mind, he was a king. School was a breeze, books were his home turf, teachers thought he was amazing. But then there was his other world, his body, which felt like an enemy, a source of constant frustration that seemed hell-bent on betraying him.
So let's really dig into what that betrayal looked like. What was Randy actually up against, day in and day out?
Okay, so picture this. He's 12 years old. This is a huge deal for a kid, right? It's when growth spurts are supposed to be kicking in for everyone else. But Randy was barely 4 feet tall. The house would see him coming home, secretly checking his height against the doorframe, just hoping for a millimeter of change. You can almost feel how quiet and heavy those moments must have been. And it didn't get much better. Even by 16, he weighed just 100 pounds. His body was, and this is wild, literally about 10 years behind his brain. And it wasn't just his height. It was like the universe was just piling it on. He gets a late diagnosis for a weak eye, meaning he'd been struggling to see right for years. He was left-handed in a world totally designed for righties, which is just a constant daily frustration. And he didn't have the physical strength that was, back then, everything for a boy. It was a battle on all fronts. And, of course, these physical struggles didn't just exist in a vacuum. They came with a huge social price tag. Yeah, the cruel math of the playground. That pretty much sums it up. He wasn't just picked last, he was often just not picked at all. Pushed to the sidelines, made the scorekeeper. His size basically disqualified him from the normal rites of passage for a boy, making him a total outsider. And this is just brutal. This was the social reality he was facing every single day. In that world of school dances and crushes, his height was like an invisible wall he just couldn't climb. It wasn't just tough, it was, for him, impossible. He was literally and figuratively looked over. So what does that do to a person's spirit? For Randy, it created this crushing shyness. He just learned to avoid social situations completely. I mean, why put yourself through that, right? He basically made himself invisible before anyone else had the chance to. But, and this is the incredible part of his story, Randy didn't just get crushed by this. Nope, he started to build a totally different kind of strength, developing these really clever strategies to survive his world. And this was a full-on survival plan. He used his incredible intelligence and a really sharp wit as a shield, to make people laugh and diffuse awkward moments. He also strategically made friends with bigger, athletic kids that gave him social cover. And then he found a private refuge, a world where none of the physical stuff mattered.
This was the genius of his radio hobby. In the world of radio waves, nobody can see you. The signal doesn't care how tall you are. He could connect with people from all over the world, and they'd only know his voice and his mind. It was the one place where he could be totally, completely free from the prison of his body.
And then, ever so slowly, things started to shift. His body finally started to get the message. Just look at this timeline. It shows what a long, slow grind it was. From 4 feet tall at 12 to finally hitting 5'10" when he was 21. You can just imagine the relief he must have felt with every single inch. His body was finally catching up to the man he'd always been on the inside. Of course, you don't go through something like that without some scars. That shyness, that sensitivity, that never totally went away. But with this new physical presence, his confidence finally had room to grow. The man who walked out of that house at 21 wasn't defined by being small, but by the incredible strength it took to overcome it.
And this really is the house's final wisdom. It brings the whole story home. Randy's success wasn't just an achievement. It was a testament to a person who refused to let his body set the limits for his life.
So, as we wrap this up, the story leaves us with a really powerful question to ask ourselves. Randy's struggles forged his wit and his perseverance into these incredible tools. It just makes you wonder, right? What strengths have our own struggles, the big ones and the small ones, built inside of us, without us even realizing it?